Hi folks, Canadian Prepper here. So I got a message for Vice News. Go f*** yourself. Alright, so we got to talk about this recent video that Vice made called Are We in the Last Days of Civilization? Filling the Void. Now myself and some other prominent prepping YouTubers happened to be featured in this video, although very briefly. And of course, we are the butt end of ridicule because whenever Vice is starved for attention, they put out another hit piece on preppers. Now, before we dissect this shit take from Vice, we need to understand that anybody who's making north of $10 million is probably a prepper in some way, shape, or form that would be recognizable to you and me. They may not have a bunker. They may not have private security, but you can probably bet they're packing heat. They probably got a little bit of food storage, and they've definitely been thinking a little bit more about personal security. Because once you're packing that much cheese, you gotta be stupid not to think that if the shizzy hits the fizzy, you're gonna be a primary target. Now, the owner of Vice News is a billionaire. Shane, what's his face? You know that guy's got a bunker somewhere. You know he's probably got some land in New Zealand with all his buddies. Go ask Ron at Atlas Survival Shelters. He's not going to tell you exact names of people who are buying bunkers, but you can bet if you have a net worth higher than 10 mil, you probably are considering getting a bunker, including all the movers and shakers over at Vice. So let's read the description in the video of their most recent hit piece against preppers. The void. We all feel it to varying degrees, and we try to fill it in different ways. In this episode of Filling the Void, a collaboration between Vic Berger and Vice News, we take a look at the phenomena of prepping, how we do it, and why we do it. Notice they don't say, we're going to take a look at the most fringed out of all people within the preparedness community. No, they're trying to generalize this to all preppers to make us seem even more crazy than we are. Now, I'm going to be honest. It's not hard to make a montage of crazy preppers taken out of context. You know, you splice in some stuff about the rapture and you got yourself a pretty entertaining half hour of content. Easy to do. This gets no artistic points whatsoever because it's lowbrow yellow journalism at its finest. Give me 24 hours and a bag of the green stuff. I could make something twice as good and twice as long. Among the YouTubers in this video that you might recognize are myself, the Urban Prepper. There's another one in here who's like a family, and they're actually a really, even-keeled family. Every video I've watched from them seems very rational. They're entertaining, but of course, they get painted as nut jobs. Here's the essential plot of this video, okay? They've taken one of the most fringed out theories of an asteroid that's supposed to hit the planet Earth in 2029, okay? They've added a little bit of rapture stuff with these hardcore fundamentalist evangelicals. Now look, I like thumbing through the pages of Revelation as much as the next guy. It's a very interesting read, and I actually come from a Christian background. Christian people are great people, by and large, but there is a very, 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 very small fringe amount, which really take this thing to the outer limits in terms of plausibility. And of course, there's always going to be a date 10, 20, 30 years in the future, which is supposed to coincide with some sort of biblical prophecy. Myself, I base it on science. That's what my prepping is based on. Mathematics, the numbers. If that happens to coincide with what people have written down in their big book, then great. I guess we're best of friends. They start the video out showing one of the most cringiest and creepiest preachers of all time, Kenneth Copeland, with his demon eyes. Okay, I don't know, maybe some of you guys like Kenneth Copeland. That guy, if you're being duped by guys like that, you better be prepared for when the shizzy hits the fizzy. Because there's going to be a lot of cult-like leaders like that who are going to be trying to subjugate people's very feeble minds, who are going to be very desperate for guidance in that period of time. People like that, you got to stay away from. I've never seen any prepping channel reference Kenneth Copeland. I've barely seen any prepping channels reference this apopsis asteroid that's going to hit the Earth. So they're just trying to conflate the crazy in with the not so crazy to make us all look crazy. So that's why I say Vice can go himself. When it's profitable to do so, Vice will show prepping in a positive light. But more often than not, they're trying to reduce the whole practice to the realm of the absurd. Now, I would love to do a real-time reaction video with this with you guys, But unfortunately, I don't want to put myself in a position where I can get a copyright strike. You see, they were clever enough. The parts that they took from my toilet paper tablet video, which of course they've kind of taken out of context to make fun of, which is fine, fair enough. I've said a lot of things on this channel which easily would blend well into a nut job mashup. But they were smart enough to put a bunch of music over it, use a lot of jump cuts, really maximizing their fair use, so I wouldn't put a copyright strike on them. But the joke's on them because they've just now made me a piece of content. But that's not the only reason why I'm making this video. You see, prepper misrepresentation is a real problem in our society. Perhaps we all, to some degree or another, myself included at times, may share a bit of responsibility for that. But I think that for the most part, myself and the people who I associate with are fairly grounded when it comes to our predictions and our rationale to prep. All the things that I prepare for are well within the realm of possibility and plausibility. What they've done here is they've taken the apopsis thing, which is the comet hitting the Earth in 2029, a very low probability event. I think it's supposed to come within a few thousand miles from Earth, actually a lot more than that, but it's a very low probability event. I'm not preparing for an asteroid. To me, if there was ever a vain reason to prep, it would be prepping for an asteroid. Look, unless you got some deep underground military base up there in Greenland, there's no way most of us are going to survive a sizable meteor strike. I'm sure the rich and the government, they have some contingency plan to keep just enough of them going. They probably have a bunch of DNA like they did in Jurassic Park that they got stored away somewhere so that they can start cloning humans, to repopulate the planet or Mars or wherever the hell Elon decides to go. But for the most part, prepping for an asteroid attack is just kind of silly, okay? There's plenty of things to prepare for that we talk about on this channel that have a high likelihood of happening. Things like pandemics, natural disasters, frickin' volcanoes, earthquakes, global conflict, economic collapse, climate collapse, World War III, solar flares, EMPs, tornadoes. There's plenty of things to prepare for that it's not a question of if they're going to happen, it's a question of when they're going to happen.
So you can go and watch this if you want. Personally, I think it's really weak attempt to defame preppers. I mean, how can you make a video like this after 2020? And you can tell by the dislike ratio. It's got 14,000 likes, 2,000 dislikes. That doesn't seem like that much, but if they would have put this out before 2020, I guarantee you there probably would have been any dislikes. So people are starting to catch on to what's going on here. People are starting to come to their senses about preparedness. They realize that we're living in a brave new world. And as good as things are, as I always say, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Here's my ideal vision of prepping. Something that is apolitical, areligious. It's okay if your religion is part of your motivation to stay alive and a part of your reason why to keep going and going further. But I think in order for preparedness to be widely accepted by the masses, something that we should aspire to so that more people are ready to endure these things if and when they happen, it's important that it's apolitical, it's areligious, it's matter of fact, it's amendable to modern pop cultural trends, because let's face it, people are very, and increasingly more so, short-sighted. That's part of the reason why preparing is more important, because if you look at our obsession with bite-sized media, well, what is prepping? Prepping is all about preparing for the long game, seeing into the future, okay? You can't do that if you're on TikTok 24/7, having your adrenaline glands titillated by that dopamine dump. The media and the manner in which we are currently engaging in this conspicuous consumption around the planet is completely at odds with preparedness. And most people don't even realize that there's a lot of people right now who are enduring SHTF as we speak. Look at all those Haitian refugees. All political opinions aside, those people and other people are going through SHTF right now. We have the luxury to prepare in the West. And I question whether or not people can truly appreciate anything that we've been given. If people are grateful at all for their running water, for their food, for all of the things that we enjoy and take for granted. Are people truly appreciative if they are not in some way, shape, or form a prepper or survivalist? That's a philosophical discussion I'm going to save for another day. Oh, and one more thing that they talk about in this video is they bash on Patriot Supply. They try to act as if Patriot Supply is like the going thing in the preparedness industry. I'm going to go out on a limb here and I'm going to presume that this Patriot Supply crap that's being mass marketed to everybody in the preposphere probably tastes like dog food. Probably. Okay? Disclaimer, probably. These guys are sending me all kinds of messages using these really sleazebag car salesman like tactics to try to get my attention so I will promote their dog food on my channel. I'm not gonna promote it. Myself and a lot of the other YouTubers that they tried to defame in this video, we're not about promoting that crap, okay? We're about getting people quality products. We are on your side. That's the reason why a lot of our channels aren't that big. You might think my channel's big, 570,000 subs. Okay, it's taken me 7 years to get there. There are van vlogger channels and bushcraft channels who far exceed that within the first year or two of being on YouTube. This has been an uphill battle because of the fact that most of the people I know within the preposphere have something called integrity, and we don't sell this kind of bullshit Patriot Supply mass marketed nonsense. Any type of company who is just putting their label on all of these different types of things, like all of a sudden they got a new solar generator and they got this and that they're buying off AliExpress and they're trying to hawk it at you. Look, man, use your common sense, okay? These people don't care that you're gonna stick this food in a closet and probably never, ever consume it. In fact, that's what they're banking on. People who actually consume that stuff, who are not that swayed by the power of suggestion, ooh, look how good this is, placebo effect to make you think that it tastes good as it's tasting like snot. And my God, I'm watching this video right now. There's so many ads. They're just pumping the ads. Vice has to make back their money. They're hurting right now. Every time they put out a prepping video, that's when they're really, really starved for content. They got to make fun of the preppers, right? Even though their head honcho is probably one of the biggest preppers out there. You cannot make that many videos about preppers and be in the era that we are in post 2020 and not be a prepper. All right. I mean, you'd have to be really, really stupid. And I find it hard to believe that a billionaire is stupid. And you know what? The thing is with Vice, they've interviewed myself. They've interviewed Full Spectrum Survival. They've interviewed City Prepping, the Urban Prepper, numerous people, and they've done so in a positive light. They even went down south recently with that one prepping community, and I can't really remember what their name is, something to do with independence. They did what I thought was a fairly positive review of that preparedness community. Didn't really try to poke fun at it much at all. So they know what's up. But the problem with this is going to be that it's going to reinforce those negative stereotypes, and everybody's going to be like, ha, prepping is only for crazy people who are liabilities and potential risks and threats to society. So maybe we should just crack down on this prepping thing altogether. You know what? Maybe we should just make prepping illegal, Okay, now we're getting into the Big Brother, Aldous Huxley, Brave New World type stuff. Let's save that for another day. I'm sure I've already shot myself in the foot enough in this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Canadian Prepper out.